What a time to be either a Alien fan or a Predator fan, because the content that has been dropping lately has been absolutely fire on both sides. We have finally gotten Alien Earth. They have dropped the first two episodes, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the first episode. Now, I'm not going to have any visuals because I just got into some ish with YouTube, so I'm just kind of try to take it easy for right now and just kind of give you my first initial thoughts. And man, this was a very strong first episode. It has a lot of mystery, a lot of interesting things about it. It's really well shot too, I'll have to say that. Even though there are times where you can definitely notice the CGI a bit, but it's still really dope that a lot of this was shot on locations and stuff like that. Different locations, I should say. So the episode opens up, we get introduced to Morrow. He's like this cyborg, black cyborg. And he has this crew, and they're a research team and whatnot. And they are transporting all these different specimens, but they have a lot of nasty things on this ship. Mainly what we are familiar with the xenomorphs or the face huggers before they become xenomorphs and whatnot. But there's also really nasty other shit on this ship that if anything were to go wrong, and trust me, things definitely go wrong in this episode as far as what happens with the ship. But before we get into that, we shift things to a character that goes by the name of Wendy. Her former name was Marcy, I think. And what's fucked up about this is taking place on Earth, because we see there's this island called Neverland, and it's ran by this really young, smart, Tony Stark-esque, narcissistic type of kind of character, kind of full of himself, where he creates these things called synthetics. And what happens here is there's these kids that are already kind of sick and are already about to die, so they go through this program, and Wendy's the first person to kind of become a human into a synthetic, and they pretty much kind of use her to ease the other children to kind of make the same transition, which is really fucked up when you really think about it. And being a synthetic, they kind of break it down that they're no longer human, and they kind of treat them like that. But obviously there's still some memories and things that do kind of make them human in a way. And I feel like the synthetics are going to be the most interesting thing for me about this so far, other than, there's a fucking alien just walking around and shit on this ship. And so what ends up happening, we cut back to the ship, and all of a sudden we see Morrow kind of hijacking the plane, and it's just chaos. A lot of characters are just being picked off one by one by the xenomorph, and then we shift things right back to Wendy and whatnot. We find out that she actually has a brother named Joe, that he's kind of works for this search and rescue team. And this is how everything starts to kind of connect with one another as the ship starts to fall towards Earth. So there's a lot of casualties, and I really like this depiction, this, and the amount of the violence that they were showing, and just how dark and brutal things get in this series is really dope. They didn't really tone that down, and you kind of get this shell shock kind of effect of just a lot of things going on. Joe's trying to see who can be rescued, who needs help and whatnot, and they gotta go look within this this vessel, this ship, to see who's still around. But they're not alone. There's something, obviously, the xenomorph is there, and hopefully it didn't just leave the ship and it's somewhere else, because that's going to be a huge other problem. But the the boy genius character, he wants what's on this ship, even though it's a whaling ship, and he doesn't care if he gets sued or anything like that. So there's definitely some competition as far as like who are the big four corporations like running things at this time. So that stuff is going to be interesting and as well. So now Wendy decides like she wants to go save her brother Joe. So it kind of turns into a rescue mission for her, and she takes the other synthetics with her. And I feel like that's just going to just end really bad for all of them. And it's really kind of also interesting that they cannot die and how they kind of view that, and they're able to have these kind of conversations about what is a human anymore, or just what happens now that we just can't die. We can't get cancer or anything, we can't get sick, but we can still be harmed and all this other stuff. So that stuff is going to be really fascinating. So they have some interesting characters. I'm liking Wendy's character. Moro I like just because he just doesn't give a fuck, and I'm curious to see what his whole goal and motive was for like doing what he did, or just exactly what happened before the crash and stuff like that. What kind of caused that whole thing, because I'm pretty sure they're going to probably show that in the next episode or at some point in the season. But I feel like this first episode nailed the tone. It still captures that sci-fi horror, that claustrophobic type of vibes, that close proximity, really tight spaces, and just tapping into people's like worst fears of just not only being out in space, but now this stuff that used to just be in space is now here on Earth. So it's going to turn into a bigger problem now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next. Let me know how you guys feel about this first episode in the comments below, and make sure you hit that like button, so that'll let me know that you want to see my take, or you want to hear what I have to say about episode 2. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.